Third vignette. This time, I'm not going to put myself on report anymore. Again, though, in Vietnam, this time involving my dearest friend in the world, a man by the name of Thomas Valentine Droughty. He was a rifle company commander in the 1st Marine Division. He was operating in the vicinity of Da Nang. He was operating in a tactical area of responsibility, a battalion tactical area of responsibility, probably 40 or 50 square miles of land that belonged to that battalion. Anything that moved in that area was fair game for that battalion to take under fire. They're going to do an operation at the far end of this tactical area of responsibility. And to get to that location, they had to follow a sunken road that crossed the TAOR. And in the middle of it, about halfway across this TAOR, was a village right beside that sunken road. And every time that battalion sent anybody near that village, they got sniper fire. And so the battalion commander called this captain, his name is Droughty, called Captain Droughty to the command post and said, Captain Droughty, we're going to go on an operation tomorrow at the far end of the TAOR. We're going to move that battalion past this village. I do not want to stop because of sniper fire, and therefore I want you to take your company. I want you to mount out today, and I want you to go to that village, clear it, secure it, and when we come through tomorrow, you just swing on around and become tail end Charlie. You understand that? Yes, sir, I do. Droughty mounts up his company, and they start moving down this sunken road. Several hours later, they're at the location where the village is. The village surrounded by tree line, surrounded by rice paddies. They're in the sunken road. He gets his men deployed. He says, okay, we're going to go. We're going to take this village. We're going to clear the snipers. They get up. They start walking into this paddy. They get about 5 steps into the paddy. Whoosh! Sounds like a vacuum. All small arm fire, but very, very heavy small arm fire coming out of the tree line right beside the village. I mean, all the Marines hit the deck. They then do something that Marines will never admit to doing, and that's why we call it attacking in a different direction. They retreated. They said, this doesn't make much sense getting shot at in the rice paddy when we have a sunken road to get to. Bullets don't go circular, they go straight. Let's get back to where we're safe, and they fall back into the sunken road. Captain Droughty gets on his radio, calls in artillery and air on that tree line and just pounds it. Pounds the tree line. Probably for 20, 25 minutes. Gets his people back into formation, ready to go, lifts the artillery and starts attacking across this rice paddy area. They're still taking fire, but they keep on going. They fight their way through the tree line. They are in the village. The battle is raging. Later on, intelligence will tell us that that 150-man rifle company was fighting a North Vietnamese Army regiment of almost 1,000 people. Marines are good, gang, but we're not that good. I mean, 1,000 against 150, those aren't good odds. And so Captain Droughty, talking to his battalion commander, gives him the situation. The battalion commander said, okay, there's a hill mass about 400 meters to your east. Get on that hill mass, put yourself in a defensive position. The battalion will be moving towards you as soon as we can. And that's what Tom did. He gets his people back onto this hill mass and starts counting noses. Counting noses, making sure that he's got everybody there. He's distributing water and ammunition and food. Here's here, whoop, somebody's missing. There's a Marine missing. And so they asked the squad leader, you know where this Marine is? And the squad leader said, yes, sir. I saw him fall down by this hooch. I think he's dead. And Captain Droughty said, do you think he's dead or is he dead? And the Marine said, sir, I think he's dead. And Captain Droughty said, well, I'm going to go down and get him. By now it's night. The squad leader said, well, I'll go with you, sir, because I know where he is. And sure enough, 400 meters in the dark, going to this village, it's burning by now. They, in fact, find this Marine, and he's dead. And Captain Droughty drapes him over his shoulders and carries him all the way back and lays him on the ground up in his defensive position. A few hours later, as the sun is coming up, in marches the battalion. The battalion commander, Lieutenant Colonel, starts moving up to where Captain Droughty is. Captain Droughty, of course, goes down to him. They meet. The Lieutenant Colonel looks at Droughty and says, my gosh, are you hit? Have you been wounded? And Tom looked down, and he is just covered with blood. And he realizes it's the blood from this Marine that he had carried up on the hill the night before. So he says to the colonel, he says, sir, that's not my blood. And he tells him what had happened, that he had gone down to get this Marine. The colonel looks at Captain Droughty and says, wait a minute, let me see if I understand this. You left and went down there with a squad leader to find a Marine that you don't even know was dead or whether he was alive, and you brought him back? You got to be kidding me. And Captain Droughty said, no, that's what I did. And he said, well, let me tell you something, Captain. You ever do anything like that again, I'm relieving you of your command. Do you understand that? You ever do anything like that again, you are relieved of your command. And like the Navy, the Air Force, the Army, or whatever, Coast Guard, you get relieved of your command, what do you think that means? It's not good for career aspirations, okay? You're relieved of your command if you ever do that again. Do you understand that? And Captain Droughty came to attention and said, yes, sir, I understand. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, stopped, turned around, went back and said, sir, you need to understand that if I'm faced with this same choice tomorrow night, I would do the same thing. At which time the battalion commander said, Captain Droughty, you are relieved of your command. Turn it over to your executive officer. The executive officer was standing in a clump of bamboo trees about 100 meters away. And so Captain Droughty said, aye, sir. Started to walk towards his XO to turn the company over. As he's walking there, he hears a helicopter. And he looks over, and here comes this helicopter, and it's going to land about 50 yards from him. And on the side of the helicopter is a scarlet flag with a star right in the middle of it. The star, the flag of the Assistant Division Commander of the 1st Marine Division, a Brigadier General. Landed. About that time, the Lieutenant Colonel, the Battalion Commander, sees that happening too, so he starts walking towards Droughty. Droughty's sitting there with the Colonel coming this way, a General's coming this way, and he's saying to himself, and I've just been relieved of my command. This is not my best day. They get together almost at the same time. The general, 1-star general, says, where is the CO of Mike Company? That was the company that Tom had commanded. And Tom, in telling me the story, said he wanted so badly to say, he's over there in that clump of bamboo. But he didn't. He said, sir, I'm the CO of Mike Company. At which time the general said, well, listen, I listened to the battle you fought on your radio all of yesterday and late into the night. And I just want to tell you what a magnificent job you and your Marines did. What a simply magnificent job you and your Marines did. And then turned to the Lieutenant Colonel and said, Colonel, with Marines and leaders like Captain Droughty here, you've probably got the best battalion in the 1st Marine Division. Everybody in this audience who watched CNN during the Gulf War knows Tom Droughty. Tom Droughty was the assistant division commander of the 1st Marine Division, who led the Marines into Kuwait City and was interviewed the day the Marine Corps went into Kuwait City. Brigadier General Thomas Valentine Droughty, assistant division commander of the same division that he had lost his command in. Now, let's take just a second to talk about Tom Droughty. Here's a man who, since he was 6 years old, wanted to be a Marine. I've seen pictures of him when he was 8 or 9 wearing a Marine mini uniform. This is a man who really, you cut his veins, he bleeds scarlet and gold. He'd gone to the Naval Academy. 2 Silver Stars. This was his 3rd tour in Vietnam. All he wanted to do in life was to be a Marine. In the space of time that it took to walk 3 steps, he realized there was something more precious to him than even the career in the Corps. It was something that only he could give away, and it's called his integrity. His integrity. And in the space of 3 steps, he realized that there was no way that he was going to be able to say to that colonel, "Yes, sir, I understand and will obey." He knew in his heart he couldn't, and so he willingly sacrificed everything that he really held dear because of the word integrity. And he did lose it. Remember, the bottom line is he lost the command. I mean, this wasn't one of those things where, well, I'm going to fake him out. I'm going to say it. He lost it. He got relieved. The fact that the assistant division commander happened to land and say some nice things saved him. But here's a man whose integrity, his integrity, was so strong, a force for him, that he'd give anything up to keep his integrity. So I'm going to put integrity right there beside selflessness and moral courage. Wherever I go, people eventually ask me, what is it that makes a great leader? There's got to be one word. There's got to be one trait. There's got to be something that encapsulates a great leader. And my answer, after all the years of experience I've had and seeing people demonstrate such great traits, my answer is, if you want to be a great leader, you must first be a man or a woman of character. You must be a man or a woman of character. And here, I define character as being selfless, having moral courage, and being a man or woman of integrity. If you want to be a great leader, you must first be a man or woman of character.